Nebraska and Texas once again. The fifth meeting in the NCAA tournament. Both of those won by Nebraska, and both of those coming in championships in 1995 and just last year in 2015. Teams are about to be introduced. We've got a moment. Let's go over to Holly.
Well, when you think about all of the great history of Nebraska volleyball, they are one of the great dynasties in women's collegiate volleyball, along with Penn State, Stanford. They have done what none have done before, multiple championships, but the one thing they've never done before is back-to-back championships for Nebraska. So their theme all year, as you mentioned, has been making history. So a fun theme they've had all season long was 1492. The play on words is that's when Columbus discovered America, and they wanted to get back here to Columbus, Ohio. Making history has been their theme all year, and the way that John Cook thinks that they'll make that history tonight is with their serve and pass. They are traditionally, through all of these years, all of these dynasties, they are good at the service line and forcing teams to play out of system. If they want to make history tonight here in Columbus in the year 1492, all that fun stuff, they're going to have to do it with the service pass. I don't know that Christopher Columbus had a very good serve, but we'll ask you guys.
I heard he was a heck of a defender. We've had a couple of those so far. Thanks, Holly. Nebraska and Texas once again, one of the two very best coaches in the business. John Cook, the Big Ten Coach of the Year in his 17th year at Nebraska. Jared Elliott, what a run of consistency as the sport has grown and gotten more competitive. 5 straight years to the national semifinals and 8 out of the last 9. One championship during that run, however, that was in 2012. John Cook and the Cornhuskers. Coach Cook, after coming over from Wisconsin, won his very first year in Lincoln in 2000, won once again in 2006. A team led by Jordan Larson, one of your great Olympians that won a bronze medal in Rio, and then again last year. Let's talk about this matchup. Again, a lot like Minnesota, Nebraska different with respect to rhythm and speed of offense, but once again, they are so superb in the serve-receive phase of the game.
And it's that first contact that sets the trend and sets the flavor of the match. And they're so good at the service line with their first contact when they send the ball over to the other team. And they're also so good when the other team sends it to them. They make the ball go close to the net in the middle of the court. Their setter can run the offense that she wants without having to move around a lot. It doesn't disrupt their offense. Those first contacts, huge for Nebraska.
A couple of key transfers for the Cornhuskers as well. We'll talk about them as the match goes along. Let's take a look at the Northwestern Mutual planning for success. What do you got in store for this one, Karch?
Well, starting below with the Nebraska, that serve notice, they have to use their very strong serving game, and Texas not known for their great contact receiving serve, but today they have to be passing at a high level to be able to stay in this match and face down the accurate and fierce serving barrage that Nebraska is going to send across the net.
When we spoke with Nebraska head coach John Cook yesterday, he said we go through and we battle right till the very end and win the Big Ten championship. And then Penn State, who had a little bit of a down year, looks at the draw and who's in number 16 but Penn State, and what pressure. His Cornhusker team, as you pointed out, in front of 8,500 people at the Devaney Center in Lincoln, standing room only, and Nebraska goes down 2-0 and had to fight off 2 match points. And he thinks now that maybe the pressure is off this team, at least for a few days, until they get Texas.
Well, if they had lost in that round, the round of 16, that would have been a real disappointment to have so many players, 5 out of the main 7, coming back in their effort to try to repeat. That would have been a huge disappointment, but I guarantee you nobody wanted to play Penn State in the round of 16. They were too good, and Ali Franti had a phenomenal match, put Penn State in a position to win those 2, to win that in 3, but Nebraska faced that down, and now I think they're feeling bulletproof. They've gotten through a very serious test, the most they could probably face in this tournament.
And for the Texas Longhorns, overall at 26-4, and they really had to battle. It took a miracle, an absolute miracle, and a lot of luck, quite frankly, for them to come back against a superb team and a strong effort from BYU. They won the first 2 sets to the Texas Longhorns, and they had a couple of match points. BYU fought that off, took Texas all the way to the 5th set, and had a 10-5, 12-7 lead, which in rally scoring is basically a 95% certainty, and yet Texas somehow found a way.
including down match point at 14-12 and 14-13. So both these teams have the right to feel really good about their position and the fact that they're here and they have already been challenged and responded.
But neither is satisfied. Mentioned that they were both longtime rivals in the Big 12 Conference. This is the 55th meeting all time. Nebraska with 32 wins against 22 for Texas. But if you go back, Texas has had a lot of success against Nebraska, albeit they've lost the last two. But prior to that, Jared Elliott and the Longhorns had won 5 straight and 9 out of 10. Nebraska will serve first. Kelly Hunter, first team All Big Ten, second team All-American. Those selections were announced yesterday. Nebraska will be in their home white uniforms. And the second semifinal is underway, and inauspiciously with the service error. Once again, best 3 out of 5 sets. First 4 sets to 25 points. Must win by 2. Fifth set if necessary to 15. Rally scoring. 15 substitutions. 2 timeouts per team per set, along with 3 challenges for the match. Out of the middle, first good dig by Chloe Collins, and I mentioned a couple of very, very valuable transfers, and this is one of them. Brianna Holman, number 13, 6'1" junior out of DeSoto, Texas, started her career at LSU, had to sit out last year, and she was huge against Penn State. 17 kills on 24 swings. I don't think they win without her production in the middle. Shank pass here from Micaiah White in Texas.
And this is what Coach Jared Elliott of Texas expressed concern about yesterday, was the fact that Nebraska is going to put a lot of serving pressure. You can see already Micaiah White steps up and out of the passing rotation, so they're going to try and receive with 2. And just that little adjustment gave a different look across the net for Michaela Fecke, and she misses as a result. Wise move by Texas.
Kat McCoy, 5'7" junior out of Southlake, Texas. The libero for the Longhorns averages 4 digs per set, does have 20 aces so far on the year. Ball set a little bit tight. Smart choice that time by Wanabu. And good block by Morgan Johnson. Number 12, the 6'3" sophomore, also out of DeSoto, Texas, like her counterpart, Brianna Holman, number 13 for the Cornhuskers. Easy serve to Wong Arantes, and leads to a kill by Katie Rolfson, number 6 in white.
And you've seen the setter for Nebraska, Kelly Hunter. She doesn't even have to move. When the serve comes to her team, they're just putting it right in the middle of the court, very close to the net. That's the strength of these 4 main Nebraska passers.
Soft touch off the first swing from Wanabu. Wong Arantes making a long run, and another stuff block. Texas picking up right where Stanford left off in the first semifinal. Morgan Johnson with a good block here for the Longhorns as Wanabu will continue to serve. Out of the middle, that ball cracked right on the sideline. This is not the Twin Cities, but it might as well be this weekend. We've got the Rolfsons, we had the Taps, and we had the Keefes, although one injured and not playing for Stanford. So 3 sets of twins in this national semifinal. What are the odds of that?
Lots of tipping so far from Texas, but Nebraska prepared for it.
Malloy cuffing down the line, another one of the transfers. Andy Malloy, 6'2", redshirt senior out of Allen, Texas. Spent most of her career at Baylor, where she was twice an all Big 12 selection.
Yeah, you would think if you have 5 back from your main 7 in winning an NCAA title, maybe the other 2 are freshmen, but these are very experienced players that they plugged in. So this is not your average 5-2 team looking to repeat.
Texas playing some good defense. Micaiah White out of the back row, dug easily by Rolfson. And then Malloy misses that, looking for the cross court.
Malloy was really strong in both rounds of the regional that they played on home court last weekend. So far, some poor shot choices by her.
Malloy 0 for 4 so far with 3 errors.
Another perfect pass.
Wong Orantes gobbles that up, and a pretty good rip by Micaiah White. Into the cross court. Speaking of ripping, Paulina Prieto Cerami, the 6'2" senior out of San Juan, Puerto Rico.
And she lives and dies by the emotion. She is so fired up to put this first ball away.
A quick timeout called by Nebraska, and an excellent start by the Texas Longhorns, blocking and ripping off the left side.
When I walk through this park, I just don't see overgrown grass and weeds and stuff. I see people, and I see souls, and I see families enjoying themselves. We have people that is willing to help. This is our community. They see it being revived, and they seeing life coming back.
This is our workshop. And this is our tradition. These are our lights. And this is our season of performance. Take advantage of some of the best offers of the year at the Acura Season of Performance event going on now.
Lease the RDX for $319 a month for well-qualified customers. Hurry, this event won't last.
The NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship is presented by Northwestern Mutual. We help you live life differently. And in part by Subway Restaurants.
Welcome back, everybody. The Stanford Cardinal have moved along in this 36th edition of the NCAA Women's Volleyball Tournament. And it will be either Texas, Micaiah White back at the line, or the defending champions from Nebraska. Texas leading 7-4 and taking full advantage of 2 Nebraska service errors and 4 hitting errors. Of course, 2 of those balls blocked by Texas. Micaiah White had a great line for us yesterday when we met about her serving. What an adventure it has been. Wong Orantes, again, a in-system pass. And with that, Nebraska's numbers off the charts in that category before that reception. And now they're at 86% in system when they receive.
And what that means is setter Kelly Hunter is not even really having to move, except for about 14% of the time when the serve's coming over.
That ball off the block and out of bounds. Prieto Cerami taking a chance. That ball was set a little tight, but quick arm swing off the edge. There is Prieto Cerami. Actually won a national championship as a freshman at Penn State. All Big 12 last year and a second-team All-American, 3.5 kills per set. And that ball drifts just out of bounds.
Yeah, Prieto Cerami's favorite shot is that hard heat on the angle. But I like the adjustment she made already early, trying to hit with a little more range and using that end hand, the right hand of the outside blocker.
Last year, second team. This year, honorable mention. Short serve handled nicely into the cross court. That is right in her sweet spot, but sometimes Prieto Cerame can be a terminal hitter, both good and bad. Let's go back over to Holly.
Well, after just listening into the Nebraska huddle, they did an extensive scout on how they wanted to handle Prieto Cerame at the net. But she has gone against those tendencies that they just talked to the Nebraska team about, so that's a great credit to her that she's able to adjust in this match away from some of her own swing tendencies.
Thank you, Holly. Tight pass. Prieto Cerame again managing, tipping that time to Michaela Fecke. And a tough chance there. Wanabu on the floor. And Yasmin Bedard-Ani, one of the truly interesting stories of college volleyball, not only this year, but last year as well. More on that as the match unfolds as Hunter goes back to serve. Nebraska has trailed throughout this opening set. Bedard-Ani out of bounds. Justine Wong-Arantes, the GPS on, and knows exactly what's in and what's out, but this was close.
Or maybe just trying to protect herself. Was a shot coming at her.
And that was very close on second look, but not worth the challenge. It's too early. Wanabu off the left side, over the top, dug by Albright. And Michaela Fecke, number 2 in white, as a freshman last year, the most outstanding player of the national championship. She had 19 kills in 3 sets against this same Texas team.
And really came on all through the NCAA tournament. One of the rare freshmen to win that most outstanding player award, along with Deja McClendon from Penn State and Carrie Walsh-Jennings from Stanford.
Micaiah White playing some superb defense, and Wanabu off the block and out of bounds. You mentioned the 2 other freshmen. Carrie Walsh-Jennings, congratulations on the bronze medal and a great job on welcoming us to these national championships. Nicely done. Autumn Rounsaville, who has taken over a very important role as a defensive specialist for Jared Elliott and the Texas Longhorns. Really solidified and bolstered their reception. Katie Rolfson cuffing the ball down the line.
Most people might not notice, but Wong-Arantes dug that ball and put it higher in the air, Paul, so that her hitters would have the chance to turn off from blocking and get a better approach in transition. That led to a great swing by Fecke.
4-1 run for Nebraska. Coming out of the timeout to even things up. 3rd service error for Nebraska. The libero McCoy back to serve for the 2nd time. Texas led it 9-6 moments ago, but now their lead is just 11-10 opening set. Quickly to the outside, through the hole, dug right on target. And Micaiah White down the line for the kill. Micaiah White, the freshman of the year in the Pac-12 conference, 4.1 kills per set, has been a magnificent player, save possibly for the service line. But again, more on that when she gets back there.
For sure, to come into a strong conference like that and hit almost 300 in your first year on the left side where people focus on you so much, really nicely done, and she does it with a lot of range.
Was there a touch there? None. Malloy wanted a touch off the top of the block, none detected, and so once again Texas back on top by 3. And super slow motion. I was right in front of us, Coach. I did not see a touch.
I agree.
White again, high up into the block and out of bounds. Nebraska has already burned 1 timeout. They only have 1 left. Texas, it responds to the 4-1 run by Nebraska with a 4-0 run of their own. Very streaky early on, much like Stanford and Minnesota. And that ball drifts out of bounds.
And that's even though Nebraska's passing at still a very high level, allowing them to run their offense. But Texas doing a nice job in the 2nd line of defense, the floor defense, coming up with the ball and giving themselves chances to win the longer rallies.
Wong-Arantes in Nebraska in system 75% of the time. McCoy in Texas 50% of the time. In system, out of system, heavy from Ebony Wanabu.
And that's a set that Chloe Collins has had to work really hard on, setting that back set above her head, but keeping it at the right height and the right speed for Wanabu. When it gets right, it's virtually unstoppable, like that swing by Wanabu.
And Ebony and Wanabu and Micaiah White have a lot more in common. They both had to sit out all of last year with injury. Wanabu only played in one match, and that was a Texas victory over the same Nebraska Cornhusker team. Good kill off the right side by number 6 in white, Katie Rolfson. Her twin sister Amber is number 5. Katie plays on the opposite or right side. Amber moves to the middle, but not always. About a year ago, they went through some major lineup changes, and it turned their season around. White again, good swing over the top of the block. Oh boy, oh, there was a touch.
I think they need to challenge that.
Yeah, Jared, there was a touch, no question about that. And remember, only 3 challenges total. It's not like in the Olympic Games, so that if you're right, yeah, see, Jared Elliott's going to have to really think judiciously about when to use these challenges.
I think this is...
Oh yeah, that's an
call.
obvious touch.
I think that's a good choice by him, because you want to come out, you're the underdog. If you can come out and win this first set, you can really get Nebraska thinking. Another view, that
there's
same
no question.
Angle.
There's no question.
I can't believe the referees that somebody didn't see that. That was, I mean, you and I saw that from way across the court here with not the most spry of eyes.
Hey, now, come on now. No, but it was, hey, look, calls are going to be missed.
Sure.
There was no question.
No question.
But the 2 referees, nor either of the linesmen saw a touch. So Jared Elliott, I thought that he might think better of using a challenge so early in a match, because, as I was about to say, unlike in the Olympics, where if you're correct with your challenge, you keep it and you get 2 per set. So you basically have an infinite number. So that call was overturned, and Texas will get point and possession, and they lead it 16-12. Let's go down to Holly.
One of the reasons that Jared Elliott was certain, he looked a little tentative about grabbing this green card right in front of him, but Micaiah White turned around immediately and said, "Coach, that was a touch." Her eye level was right at the hand level. She saw that touch immediately and communicated that to her coach. She was certain.
And I think coaches are wise to rely on their hitters most of all when a touch isn't called and they think it is, because they have the best angle and they can also hear it when it touches the block. Far better than coaches on the bench. The opposite one is you don't want to rely on your players a lot to call to contest nets when they're blocking. With USA all the time, they think, oh, I didn't net, and of course they did.
Brietta Sarami now 4 of 6. Yeah, the challenge system volleyball players for decades notorious liars. I didn't touch. I didn't. That ball was out. But now it will become truth tellers. And the first time the matchup of Fecky going right after 5'7" setter, and in that case blocker, Chloe Collins.
But if you're Texas, you got to be happy with Brietta Sarami coming out 4 kills. White coming out with 3 kills, no errors between them. Essentially, your 2 left sides are hitting 500. And that's what's got them in the lead, even though it's only by 2 right now, the lead in this match.
That ball passed right on top of the net.
Too close.
Chloe, yes, too close. And Chloe Collins is an outstanding athlete, but she's been 5'7" for a long time.
That's why you want to keep the pass off, because she's a little, there's the pass that Texas needs, and a tentative shot. Too much tipping from Sarami though.
Albright, who gets her share of swings out of the back court when Fecky was on the floor covering tip, is Ruth, the 3rd stuff block for Texas. This is the best lineup, the best rotation for the Texas Longhorns. One, Chloe Collins is now in the back court. She's not blocking. But 50% of the time in this rotation, Karch, Texas scores.
And she got them back into the match when they were down 12-7 against BYU last weekend in the regionals. Ooh, easy serve.
Oh, that was a lollipop. Brianna Holman is stuffed. Prieto Sarami, look, she was second team All-American last year, bumped down to honorable mention. I'm sorry, she was angry about that. She is a prideful.
Maybe that's an angry block right there.
Whatever it takes, whatever it takes.
In fact, maybe Collins was serving easy just to give her teammate a chance to block. That's a tougher one. That's going to take Brianna Holman out of the play.
That ball is dug. Oh, just out of bounds. Little bit of miscommunication.
Did you see Wongaranta? She's still smiling like, oh my God. Do I really want to let that go?
Here is the setter, Kelly Hunter, 5'11" junior out of Papillion, Nebraska. Half of the starting lineup, Hunter and the Rolfsons, all went to Papillion High School, a suburb of nearby Omaha, which was home to the NCAA championships last year, as Rounceville comes back on. How good has Rounceville been? Very good passing, but also 14 digs in limited playing time against BYU in that regional final. Regional semi, I should say. Right side to Fecky, that ball into the floor. Chloe Collins was there but couldn't make the play, but Texas still leading it 20-17. Longhorns got out to a good start against Fecky and the Cornhuskers, 9-6, 19-16. Texas still has both timeouts. Fecky has been Nebraska's best server. What a save by Chloe Collins. Tremendous play. And Yasmin Bedart Ani with a crush on the crossbody.
At only 5'7", again, one of those close passes, and she does a nice job of not only keeping out of the net, but pulling the ball back off the net so Bedart Ani can take a full swing at that play.
Pretty good touch out of the middle that time by Wanabu and Morgan Johnson, but the defense not able to follow up, and Brianna Holman, number 13 middle blocker, gives way to Wongarantes, the libero, and heads to the sideline. It has been all Texas so far in this opening set. Wanabu, wrist away down the line, registering the kill for the 22-18 lead.
That's her set, and that kind of speed does not allow a middle to really form a good two-person block against her. She can work it around that 1.5 or 1 block. Now she goes to the back row, though, and Chloe Collins comes to the front. This is a weaker blocking lineup for Texas.
Tough serve. Indeed, an ace serve for Wanabu. Doesn't serve an awful lot, and the bullpen down by Jared Elliott loves that. The early lead for Texas, 23-18 on top of Nebraska. Once again, a rematch of last year's championship won by Nebraska 3-0. But a brilliant start by Prieto Sarami and the Longhorns.
I now pronounce you man and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Not the food.
I got you, sis. Freaky fast.
Let's get pregnant!
Jimmy John's.
You know the case.
You find the defendant, Orenthal James Simpson, not guilty at the time of murder.
You don't know the truth.
Only OJ's in the car. Why the blood on the passenger seat?
We have 2 sets of bloody shoe prints.
A game changer.
This was the mother of all evidence. I believe this is the weapon that killed Nicole Simpson and Ron Goldman.
Think OJ did it? Think again. Is OJ innocent? The missing evidence. The investigation reopens January 15th, only on Investigation Discovery.
Volleyball championship coverage continues with the national championship Saturday, December 17th at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. For more information on the NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship, visit ncaa.com. With Holly Rowe, Karch Kirai, and Paul Sunderland, Nationwide Arena, Columbus, Ohio, the 36th NCAA Championship. Texas has won twice, Nebraska on 4 occasions. Good touch by Wanabu. And a cut shot into the top of the net. So we had Malloy early, and here an unforced error, and now 6 set points. Remember, the last 2 times Texas and Nebraska played, Nebraska swept the Longhorns. At the Vert Challenge at the University of Oregon at the beginning of this year, I mean, Nebraska just put a total beatdown on Texas. Deep set to Malloy, inside the block, Rounseville right there. Over the top of the block, and a net violation. And Texas looking for the upset, and wouldn't it be indeed? Texas the number 4 seed, Nebraska the overall number 1 seed, and defending champions. But it was all the Texas Longhorns in the opening set as they hit 323 to only 108 for Nebraska. Back to Columbus in the second set, right after this.
When I come up, you can barely taste it.
You're not a real rat.
You know what? It worked. I just put water in it.
We're gonna need that tape. Let's go.
I'm going to my grandma's house where there's no on-demand, no Netflix, and no Wi-Fi. We'll see about that.
X gon' give it to you. Wait for you to get it on.
You're watching the NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship presented by Northwestern Mutual. The opening set goes to Texas 25-18. The most versatile player in all of college volleyball the last couple of years out of Los Angeles for the Longhorns. Yasmin Bedart-Ani. Last year when Wannabu got hurt, she moved over to the opposite position, and this year a little bit of a void in the middle, so why not?
She's doing everything but playing the position that she prepared and got recruited for at Texas, filling in on the right side for Ebony Wannabu, who was not able to play, maybe only played just 1 match last season. And then they had some troubles, Texas did, in the middle. And so Coach Jared Elliott just said, let's try her out a little bit, and she has grown so rapidly. One of these years, she might even get to play the position she was recruited for.
That would have been an outside. Let's go to Holly.
Well, actually, Jared Elliott says that she is the player on this team that he trusts the most. What a compliment to her. Said her mentality, her great demeanor, nothing rattles her, and she believes she can win. They threw her in practice, and after about 2 weeks, the coaches were like, well, we just tried this as a little stop shift, but now here she is playing great. And now she's here at the Final Four.
Good dig by McCoy, the libero. And that ball ripped, but well out of bounds. And that is the first error, Karch Kirai, is just underway in the second set for all of the pin hitters, White, Wannabu, or Prieto Sarami. They were flawless in that opening set.
In the opening set, 11 kills on 25 swings, almost 500, but you're right, 0 errors. I'm thinking that's probably unsustainable for pin hitters. And we saw the first error coming out from Prieto Sarami, and then the serving that Coach Elliott expressed some real concern about, that serving of Nebraska coming out at them over the net.
Especially from Michaela Fecke. Nebraska 14 aces last weekend alone in the 5-set victory over Penn State. And then the sweep of Washington. Wannabu right on the back line, smartly played by McCoy. Look at Michaela Fecke sprawling and playing some defense. Ooh, miscommunication. Good play by Wannabu trying to keep that ball alive, and Nebraska, as you might expect, with a really good start of the second set.
And Nebraska prides itself, as all these teams do, on never giving up. Fecke crashing to the floor, but keeping the ball alive before Ralston gets that ball down for a kill.
Nebraska, the second best digging team in the Big Ten Conference to only Wisconsin. Prieto Sarami. Shredding off the right side and registers yet another kill, her 5th on 9 swings.
Well, Paul, you've seen Texas more than I have this season, but Prieto Sarame to me looks as confident as I've seen all year. She is just taking rips at the ball. That's got it. You got to take that if you're a Texas fan as a good sign.
Malloy turning that ball down the line, but out of bounds for the hitting error. So that quick advantage for Nebraska has nearly disappeared as Rounceville has come back on once again. Texas has been working so hard to become a better passing and serving team all year. Bedard-Ani with a stuff block out of the middle. When we talked to Yasmin Bedard-Ani yesterday, we talked to her about the move into the middle. She said, well, I think I blocked a little bit in the middle when I was in about 9th grade.
And watch her shuffle over, but get her hands in the right spot. It's not the straight down type of stuff, but you'll take it any way you can get it. It still counts for a stuff block, a direct point.
It is really, really a tough adjustment. It's hard to think of an analogy. There is Juan Orantes. If you're just joining us for this second semifinal, Texas. That ball is way in front of Juan Orantes. Texas won the opening set 25-18.
And another view of that shuffle move that Bedard-Ani is using to get herself into the play. Coach Elliott talked about how she has improved her ability to see the game, to make good decisions, and she made the right read on that play.
Ball set at about the 11-foot line. Micaiah White, very conservative.
But the good thing was she got the ball to the setter, took Nebraska out of its offense.
Off the edge, nicely played up. That's the first contact, so anything goes. Wannabu again. That's not coming back. That is just a heavy swing.
And you could see how sometimes that pass makes Chloe Collins actually back up and get closer to Ebony Wannabu. And I think that's an easier set for her to make and tougher to defend. That's quick, short back set.
Once again, perfect passing by Nebraska. After that kill, they are perfect pass in system over 75% of the time. For Texas at 63%. For Texas, 63% is really good.
That one would not be in system. They don't even get a swing out of that.
Wow. Oh, good block out of the middle by Johnson. And through the block and down. Good touch by Johnson, but Malloy, who needs to pick it up on the outside. Andy Malloy, the 6'2 redshirt senior again, the transfer from Baylor, was very, very quiet in that opening set.
And yet very big in the regionals last weekend.
3rd kill on 13 swings. That's going to be a net violation on Amber Rolfson, number 5 in white. So point in possession back to Texas. 26-4 on the year, 14-2 in the Big 12 Conference. Lost to Kansas in Lawrence and lost to Iowa State. Nebraska 31-2. Their only losses to Ohio State and Minnesota in the Big 10 Conference, where they were the champions. Malloy some way able to tuck that ball down inside, but again, they're setting the ball over Chloe Collins every time. Look, Texas has had to deal with that all season long, but when you've got a smallish blocker up front, do you change your defense behind, Karch?
Well, one thing you have to do is make sure you know what she's going to try to block. She's not going to take a ton of space, but if you know she's, for example, going to block line, then you can dig around it and vice versa. But you have to know what she's going to take, and she has to be really disciplined where she sets up.
Perfect pass that time. Eric Sullivan, the former Olympian and former assistant at Nebraska, telling Chloe Collins, just be solid, just be tight.
Exactly, and telling her, don't let them hit around you, make them go over you. Setting at her again, and wow. Nothing Collins can do about that one. She's like, what can I do? All right, let's just side out here.
Coach, I did what you told me. I mean, you know, come on.
But she got a little hung up. You might have seen it. She was concerned about the set going somewhere else, and she was scrambling to get into that play. She should worry about nothing but just being a good blocker out on her sole assignment.
Sydney Townsend, defensive specialist, just on, covering that off-speed shot. Prieto Sarami inside. Townsend, another dig.
Oh, nice set.
Down the line, off the shoulder. Katie Rolfson couldn't get the chicken wing up in time, and number 19, Prieto Sarami, with another kill.
And we've seen Prieto Sarami have a lot of trouble hitting that line shot over the course of her career, but props to her on threading the needle and hitting that in the court and around the block.
Albright out of the back row, and a net violation. That was on Bedart Ani.
In her first season as a middle.
So all is forgiven.
Just playing in the national semi, no big deal. After playing out of position last year, getting her team all the way, helping get her team all the way to a national semi.
That ball ripped inside, but Prieto Sarami, that's the one that's a problem. Ball set inside and just on a train track inside the block and out of bounds, running out of court. Nebraska leading 10-8 if you're just joining us. Stanford has upset the second seed Minnesota Golden Gophers. They are in the final. They will play the winner of this match. One-on-one. Really good job by Chloe Collins.
Yeah, one-on-one, and she held a position that actually just faked Brianna Holman out. So Brianna Holman was completely out of the play, and that, when you have no middle blocker involved, it leads to an easy kill.
Texas won the opening set 25-18. Here's Collins. Much stronger rotations with her in the backcourt for the Longhorns.
Ooh, impatient play by Holman.
Wanabu.
Nice set.
Wong-Arante is somehow getting that ball. Wanabu again, those balls set way too deep. And Rolfson, tough chance for McCoy. No top spin. It's like a knuckleball from Tim Wakefield, and it's like a magnet. You just can't get out of the way.
First of all, off the shoulder from Wong-Arantes, but then watch this ball. No spin. It just flutters, and McCoy couldn't even dodge it if she wanted to.
11-9 advantage for the Cornhuskers, and another service error. That is the third for Nebraska. Usually a very, very good serving team, and as you pointed out, Karch, when we spoke with Jared Elliott, it was his number 1, 2, and 3 concern dealing with Nebraska's serving. Holman off the top of the block. Brianna Holman, a little bit undersized as a middle blocker at only 6'1", but really a high flyer.
And that's what we saw a lot of when she helped them come back from near elimination against Penn State last weekend in the regional semifinals.
Holman having a really good tournament, hitting .421 so far through 4 matches. And speaking of that, Ebony Wanabu, number 1 in the Big 12 Conference in hitting efficiency. Usually that's reserved for middle hitters, and she's putting up those numbers against a lot of well-formed blocks. Big numbers at .384. Good serve down the line. Chance here for Texas. Right on target after the contact. And right back at you. Ball set a little bit low. Wong-Arantes is there. And out of bounds. Boy, you don't see that very often from either of these teams. Eric Sullivan, the defensive coordinator for the University of Texas. He was an outstanding outside hitter at UCLA and with the national team, and then moved to the libero. Tied at 12. Hunter's in the back row above the plane of the net. The ball violated the plane, so she is ruled a back row attacker. Called a net violation, I'm being told. And that ball drifts out of bounds. Tied at 13. Katie Rolfson, once again a first-team All-American. The two sisters, Amber and Katie Rolfson, playing their 132nd matches together.
And Coach Cook told them don't expect to be able to play together much longer as they hope to go on to a professional career.
Oh, look at that. Nebraska is usually really good, and John Cook and the rest of the Nebraska staff not happy at all about the lack of anybody flying after that ball.
And neither is Kelly Hunter. The two things she always says, perfect effort and perfect discipline, and that was absolutely imperfect effort.
Wannabu serving down the line and misses it just out of bounds. So the serving errors starting to add up. I was incorrect earlier. I was looking at the ace numbers. Right now, that's 6 service errors for Texas and 5 for Nebraska. Morgan Johnson ripping on the slide. And we have come to the media timeout here in Columbus, Ohio at the national semifinals. Texas and Nebraska. Texas won the opening set 25-18. Nebraska made a quick move to get back in. And now to the timeout. Texas on top, 15-14.
What's Bad Santa? No. Love Actually? No. What about that one?
Make it this
No. Anybody?
Yeah.
Oh, no, there's too many to pick from.
I want to text your ex the following. I need you back.
Do it.
How much would it take for you to let me grab your phone and write "who cares" on a Facebook post of your friend's baby? Sounds crazy, right? It is. And real people let me do these things for not a lot of money at all. I'm going to read through your text thread with them. 15?
No.
Do 50. What is in these texts? Watch it all unfold on I Want My Phone Back, the scariest game show ever. Only on Watchable.
The 36th NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship comes to what is frigid Columbus, Ohio. Back with Karch Kirai, Holly Rowe, I'm Paul Sunderland. There's the bracket and the reminder once again. The 6-seeded Stanford Cardinal, who came back last weekend in Madison, Wisconsin from 2 sets down to advance to this national semifinal for the 20th time, have upset the number 2 seeds from Minnesota. Coming out of the media timeout, Micaiah White back at the line. Texas up 1-0 and 15-14. Well handled. Smart shot up into the block to restart the point. And Michaela Fecke over the top of the block and out of bounds. Micaiah White will go back to the line, and again, serving has been a real adventure for her. Again, she missed all of last year, which would have been her freshman season, with a stress fracture in her foot, and she called herself the Shaquille O'Neal of serving. And I don't think she meant that as a good thing. All due respect to the Hall of Famer to be. Joust at the net, a facial delivered out of the middle. 6-2 run by Texas. Hittable ball. And Michaela Fecke turning that ball down the line, but another net violation. Not sure if it was Johnson number 12 or Chloe Collins. Jared Elliott asking who it was on. No doubt about the call. Ball set a little inside and roofed by Holman.
And that's a tough combination when Prieto Cerame takes this really long approach, 24 or 25 feet, and then the ball gets left inside. It's very hard to get in a good position to attack.
Tied at 16. Boy, she really does take a long approach, and she went over to Chloe Collins, and I think she said on the next bad pass, just give me a little more altitude. She had more time, Cards. Great observation about the length of number 19's approach.
A little higher and a little wider, and she was in much better shape. But when you approach that long, it's really hard to correct for setting errors.
Pretty good touch there by Prieto Sarame, one-on-one, working up against Holman. But that'll be point possession back to Hunter in Nebraska, tied at 17. These two teams have played twice for the NCAA championship, first in 1995. Won by Nebraska. Down the line again. You pointed out, Card, she is ripping line.
And doing it better than I have ever seen her do it before. Usually a couple of those go wide of the sideline or long beyond the end line, but so far hitting very accurately to that spot, which is a spot that opponents should leave her because she has that great, very big cross-court tendency.
That ball served out of bounds. The serving errors starting to add up, tied at 18. Prieto Sarame 9 kills, and that last down the line was her 5th in this second set. Good rotation for Nebraska with Fecky at the line. There's a double contact, going to be called by the first referee, Patty Rolfe.
You know, Nebraska has to figure out how to not have Kelly Hunter touch that first ball. She has to be running the offense and making the second contact. Somebody, especially Wangarantes, has to jump in. Good time for a timeout.
We'll step aside. Texas up 1-0 and 19-18 here in the second.
Fashion is my ministry, huh? Are you gonna prove that? Come on. Right there, right there.
No, put your tongue back in your mouth, Papa.
Yeah, get my this side.
You're coming with hot.
Nice.
Hot and dirty mud run.
A mud run.
Oh. You gotta come down. Come on. Hey, you got this.
I feel like the earth is giving birth to me or something.
We're like Nike.
Just sit right there, that grass.
Entering the gates of hell where there's no Wi-Fi and no shows. AKA grandma's. What does she mean?
X gon' give it to you. Wait for you to get it on you.
On Saturday, it's a Holiday Hoops matchup presented by Zales when Georgetown takes on Syracuse at noon Eastern on ESPN. The old rivals haven't faced off in the Carrier Dome since February of 2013 when the Qs were still in the Big East. Georgetown-Syracuse Saturday at noon on ESPN and the Watch ESPN app. Back again with Holly Rowe and three-time NCAA champion at UCLA, Karch Kirai. I'm Paul Sunderland. There's a match recap for you. Most importantly, Texas won the opening set 25-18 and lead 19-18 here in the second. Best 3 out of 5 sets. Nebraska hit 152. So far in the match, you saw their numbers so far on the season. Brianna Holman once again, one-on-one out of the middle. Let's go quickly to Holly.
Well, John Cook during that last timeout told his team, look, we're not even playing that well right now and we're only down by 1 point, but he wants better small things like communication. He said, hey, who called that last free ball? Nobody. Who's blocking right with their arm angle on Prieto Sarame? Nobody. He wants the fine-tuned details a little more intense right now.
Bedard on knee. A little bit like Washington last week. It's oxymoronic, the slow, quick, let's call it the slick.
And that's how you help somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience playing as a middle blocker, middle hitter. Slow it down for her and let her hit the slick or like a low 2-set.
Worked out pretty well for Cuba for a decade when they won the Olympics 3 times in a row. Smart shot into the block, reset the point. Rounceville right on target to Wannabu. That ball drifting back a little. Back to Wannabu. Ball set way too tight to the net. Over the top and in. Wow. You knew where that ball was going for a long time, Karch, and still to the floor.
And Coach Elliott knew too. He shot up off the bench, just really frustrated. There is only one place that ball can go when the hand is open and pointed toward the line. It's either short and the wing digger gets it, or it's deep and middle back gets it.
Tied at 20. Do you go middle quickly to the outside? Micaiah White off the edge. Beautiful dig by Maloney. And then that ball missed out of bounds by Rolfson out of the back row. Big break for Texas. Wannabu looking over for the court area in which her coaches want her to attack. She looks like she's going down the line. Oh, what a block by Micaiah White.
And all season long, she's been making some really strong left side blocking moves. Look at how far she gets her hands across the net. Perfectly defending that very difficult slide attack off 1 foot behind the setter.
Oh, Nebraska is in. Oh,
nice.
Look at that dig by Wannabu. Malloy has been struggling up into the block again. And this time, the matchup against Chloe Collins. Boy, Nebraska really needed that. Texas still leading 22-21.
Now, Malloy has to take advantage of that more. If Collins is blocking at the net, she's got to be smart enough to attack that those hands of Collins.
There's Annika Albright. Both teams using a lot of their 15 allotted substitutions. For the tie. Dug down the line by Dalton. And again. But this is out of bounds by Michaela Fecke. What a dig by the redshirt senior number 7, Nicole Dalton. She's played so many different positions, but the story of her career, 5 straight national semifinals, but she has missed so much of her career after not 1, not 2, but 3 hip surgeries, and still hanging in and playing a really big role, and none bigger right there than digging that shot down the line.
And for as tall as she is, she does a really nice job defensively and a very good job in serve reception. She's one of the strongest passers for Texas. And without all of those injuries, she might well be the person setting and running the offense for this team. But Chloe Collins took over when Dalton wasn't even available as an option.
So into the timeout, you can see Texas has 2 timeouts remaining. Nebraska has used them both. Bowl season officially kicks off this coming Saturday, 12 Eastern Time, ABC, the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl, North Carolina Central and Grambling. 2 p.m. on ESPN, the Gildan New Mexico Bowl, New Mexico versus the University of Texas San Antonio, and then at 3:30 over on ABC, the Las Vegas Bowl presented by Geico, Houston versus San Diego State. The most wonderful time of the year begins Saturday on ESPN at noon Eastern. Yep. Texas has established a pretty good foundation, if you will, in the sport of volleyball. 5 straight national semis, 8 out of the last 9 years.
And yet they have the frustration of only winning 1 title. You know, you got to get there to win it, but at some point you got to be, they've got to be hungrier for more than the 1 they've gotten out of those 8 or 7 previous trips.
Here is White. Really been an improved server. Has 24 aces on the year.
Oh, what a pass.
And off the top of the block and down. A brilliant pass that time by Wong Orantes.
And a very good serve. That was no Shaq serve. That was going right toward the sideline. That had ace written all over it. But Wong Orantes made an even better play than White did on the serve.
Texas still leading 23-22. Oh, and another service error. Set points now, 2 of them for Texas. Nothing new for Nebraska. Down 2 match points last week to Penn State. Morgan Johnson back to the line. Remember, the last 2 times that Nebraska has played Texas, those have both been sweeps. Right side, good swing on the wrist away by Holman. Set point number 2.
Got to be thinking Prieto Sarame. She's been crushing both the sharp cross court and the line.
Prieto Sarame into the block and out of bounds. You called it, Karch. And Prieto Sarame comes through when everybody knows it. Nebraska had their defense and their block set. Prieto Sarame now with 10 kills on 20 swings. Texas out hitting Nebraska 276 to 150, and the Texas Longhorns looking to pull off what quite frankly would be a big upset. Head to the locker room up 2 sets to none over Nebraska. Let's go over to the sideline.
Right, do the little things.
Keep the pressure on them, you guys.
You're watching the NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship presented by Northwestern Mutual. Really good crowd on hand once again on a frigid night in Columbus, Ohio. The number 4 seeded Texas Longhorns over Nebraska 2 sets to none. Back with Karch Kirai, 3-time NCAA champion. I'm Paul Sunderland. And I guess like the opening match won by Stanford over the 2nd seeded Minnesota Golden Gophers, you'd have to say that this is very much a surprise so far.
I don't think many people would have predicted that the lower seed in each of these matches would go right out to a 2-0 lead. Stanford first, and then now Texas really putting Nebraska on their heels. You don't want to have to go through this time and again, falling down 2-0 and hope that you can come back 3-2 like they did, like Nebraska did against Penn State last weekend.
It's no secret the pin hitters for the University of Texas, Micaiah White, Ebony Wanabu, and Paulina Prieto Sarame. Between those 3, 70% of the offense.
And only 3 hitting errors out of a total of over 60 swings. Very low error for the 3 Texas pins. Prieto Sarame hitting with a lot more range than I've seen her earlier in the season, and hitting that range while keeping her errors down. Nebraska uncharacteristically high.
And one of the big surprises that I think for everybody about Texas is that they are holding their own in the serve-receive phase of the game, which was going to be a really big advantage for Nebraska. The best passing team statistically in the country, so you expected them to be good. In system 74% of the time, but for Texas at 61. That's really a good number for the Longhorns. Underway.
And another in-system pass.
Up into the block, restart the point. Good choice by Wanabu. And then down the line again. It's those kind of decisions that have created so few errors for the University of Texas.
Meanwhile, Nebraska with 9 hitting errors in those first 2 sets. That too is not representative of the Cornhuskers. Normally they make their opponents earn a lot more of those points.
Overpass. Good block at the net by Hunter. Oh, and then Michaela Fecky. I'm not sure what to call that. A little hook slider somehow off the block and out of bounds.
Corkscrew. Luckily, her shoulders.
Yeah, somebody checked for digits, you know. I mean, wow.
Very lucky put away for Nebraska on that misconnection.
Here is defensive specialist Sydney Townsend. Ball set very tight. Trap set that time. Wanabu had to tip. Good cover by Rounceville and a nice early read for Kelly Hunter. One of the things that you and I talked about, Karch, as we were getting ready for this match is the shorter the better for the Texas Longhorns. So they need, as Jared Elliott said, take care of the little things, play with a lot of heart, and come out. What did he said, kill him. Just kill him right now.
Nice up.
Off the top of the block. What a save. Albright and then Fecky. And then Bedard on 8. Some players hit with velocity She's just a heavy bopper.
She just breaks out the club. And you so have to admire, she still has yet to get to play the position she was recruited for, to get to play outside hitter on the left side of the court. Last year replacing the injured Ebony Wannabu on the right side as an opposite.
And made the all-tournament team last year as a freshman, albeit in a losing effort to these same Nebraska Cornhuskers. That ball hit out of bounds, and Texas with the early lead here in the third.
And this year they lose a first-team All-American in Chiako Obagu in the middle, and then they have some troubles in the combinations that they try. So she steps in, and here they are with a 2-0 lead in the national semifinals, and another stuff for Texas.
Texas has been the better blocking team. They've been attacking much better from the pins.
Their 7th block now versus only 3 for Nebraska.
Really good hand positioning by number 12, Morgan Johnson, taking away the cross court. Back to Fecky. Dig right on top of the net.
Nice read by Johnson.
Texas with another opportunity, this time to White, right over the top of the block.
Boy, I like that choice by Chloe Collins. She just wanted to simplify the game, not something too fast. She set Micaiah White up with a nice, slow, but well-located set, and White just thumped it.
4-0 run for Texas. Holman make it 5-0. Another stuff for Texas. Boy, does Nebraska need an early timeout? Yes, they do. You knew Nebraska would come out of the locker room, but Texas has matched them blow for blow. And again, we'll go to the sideline thanks to a couple of blocks by Morgan Johnson with a 6-2 advantage early in the third.
My name is Logan Paul, and I am here to be the best luchador in the world. I will be your coach today. I want to survive in the wilderness. I'm here to become a ballerina, and I want to wrestle a bear.
When a shark is hungry, he eats. When a gorilla is hungry, he eats. Now bring me the ball.
Watchable.
What is it you want, Barry? What do you want?
You know, Grandpa and I used to watch this all the time.
Hey, that's pretty good idea.
Watch Stranger Things.
And now it's this all the time.
Hey, I love this show.
At finals, who will play Stanford? It looks like Texas right now on top 6-2. Let's go over to Holly Rowe. A little different atmosphere in these respective huddles, Holly.
That is correct. It's very interesting to see the differences between the two teams right now. Nebraska has been very tight and quiet and serious in their team huddles. Their setter, Kelly Hunter, keeps saying, we're fine, but not a lot of exuberance. Contrast that with the Texas huddle. They are laughing, they're smiling, they're exuberant, excited. Very different energy levels. Consider Jared Elliott said this is a team he put together with duct tape this year, and they're just out here having fun, nothing to lose.
Thank you, Holly. And Kelly Hunter, a little bit of a sales job, saying Nebraska is not fine. They are right on the edge right now. Oh, not a good set to the outside. You got to get a swing there if you're Texas and keep the momentum going. And a little bit of a traffic jam. Remember that play. Texas had opportunities. It looks like it is so early. There are miles to go before this one is even close to being done.
But this is a good team, and when you have a chance for a pretty easy point, or at least a good swing, you got to put the ball up in a good spot.
Wannabu, beautiful high flat swing by number 2 in burnt orange.
As she's progressed this season, she keeps looking more and more like, or maybe matching, that phenomenal freshman season that she had at USC. And then she had a regional final there where it was really her against Krista Van Zandt across the net for Washington. A battle. She had something like Ebony Wannabu did, like 33 kills and 50 swings. She was phenomenal. Finally getting back to that stage, and it starts with that high deep corner shot that she has.
You mentioned her year at USC when she was out on the West Coast playing for Mick Haley, former coach at Texas. He's the gentleman that really got the program started in Austin. She was then the National Freshman of the Year. Killed by Fecky. Texas leading at 7-4. If you're just joining us, Texas won the opening set 25-18 and won the second 25-23. Morgan Johnson turning off the edge of Malloy. Morgan Johnson has been superb.
And it started with a nice touch from Roundsville. I'm impressed with the job that she's doing. See, Chloe Collins doesn't have to move at all to run her offense from there. And that makes it a lot easier to find her quick hitter in that blind set over her head.
Malloy snapping down the line. Doug, good reaction quickly at the net by Brianna Holman. But once again, when we look at the numbers, Karch, Texas is really receiving serve at a much higher level than they ordinarily do on the season. 63% of the time in system, in other words, passing on target.
Yeah, and I think part of any comeback that Nebraska might hope for, it's got to be with tougher serving. Another good pass from Prieto Sarame.
And of course, Doug by Wong Orantes. And a block on the outside by Chloe Collins.
She doesn't get many of those, so when she does, her whole team goes nuts.
Lots of energy for the celebration.
Both the team on the court and the team off. So Nebraska's going to have to pick up their serving game and cause some more trouble. They're not causing the trouble that we might have expected and that Coach Jarrett Elliott even talked about. He had some very serious concerns about that service game of Nebraska's, as he talked about it yesterday. That's what you would expect more of from Texas.
Look at Prieto Sarame, completely out of system. Sometimes it's your day, or evening, I should say, and so far it has been for Prieto Sarame. 11 kills on 22 swings, hitting 364. Texas as a team hitting 307. Nebraska only 133. That's why they're up 2-0 and leading here in the third. Slide again, Amber Rolfson, and that ball dug out of bounds by Collins. Amber Rolfson is number 5, plays in the middle, and again, Texas and Nebraska have so many intersections with the way things go, and it was not this year, but last year early in the season, a loss for Nebraska at Texas, and that caused Coach John Cook to completely revamp Nebraska's lineup.
He sure did. He had to switch 3 positions. He moved Michaela Fecky, who was playing opposite and had been prepping for that for several years as a club and high school player. He moved her to the left. He moved Katie Rolfson, who was on the left, to the right, and he moved Amber into the middle, something she hadn't done since she was much, much younger, before high school. And it turned out to be a great combination. And they're going to need all of that and more to come back in this match.
Had an opportunity the first time through a pretty good dig by Autumn Roundsville in the backcourt, but dug that ball back on to Nebraska's side. Townsend will come back on. Texas leading 11-8. The winner to play Stanford. Oh, nice tip over the top. Townsend with a good overhand first contact right on target to Kelly Hunter. The Nebraska crowd, and Nebraska travels pretty well. Their fans are really antsy right now.
We saw plenty of that last week, and lots of people hiding their eyes.
Hyperventilating.
That's what you want to run. If you're Chloe Collins in Texas, Ebony Wanamu is virtually unstoppable in that short, low back set. And she reaches so high that the block is doing nothing to slow her down. She's hitting the deep last 5 feet of court. Very effective.
10th kill for Wanamu on 29 swings. Free ball. Important chance here for Texas. Middle no, back to Wanamu, and right on the end line, maybe worth a challenge. John Cook, a couple of members of his staff right there, they thought that ball was in.
Yeah, I think they had, the staff had a better idea, a better view on that than the players on the court. Whoa.
Very poor set that time by Nebraska, and on the inside, Michaela Fecke is starting to heat it up. Nebraska solid, rock solid in serve receive, playing a little bit out of personality right now. And John Cook, their head coach, told us yesterday that after the comeback win over Penn State, his team might be freed up. But you heard from Holly Rowe, they're not playing like it. Oh, what a good swing by White. Out of system against a well-set block and defense, and the lead is 14-10.
She and Wannabu have been hitting so high and with such range. And then Prieto Sarami is hitting those inside and outside chops around the block.
Holman cracked that one into the cross court, one-on-one against Johnson. Got to give Texas's block an awful lot of credit, and their defense, because they're facing 71% in system offense. Fecke looking over for instructions, concerned Nebraska fans.
And holding them to 168. Yeah. That's fantastic defense as blockers and floor defenders.
Chloe Collins not only with a stuff block, but now with a kill after a really good pass by Nicole Dalton. There is White going with the jumper. Good touch by Prieto Sarami. And roofed by Holman into the cross court. Boy, remember that play. What an opportunity for Texas to extend the lead to 5. Saving stuff block for the LSU transfer, Holman, number 13 in white for Nebraska. That's good. Remember the play once again, the block that time by the Rolfsons. I wouldn't be surprised to see a timeout called by Texas here. They've got 2 remaining and none yet. Oh, what a break. An absolute gift by Nebraska, not putting a hammer on that overpass.
Justine Wong-Arantes doing her job at the service line, a virtual ace, and Nebraska can't turn it into a point.
Oh, miscue in the backcourt as well. Amber Rolfson going crossbody, just tipping for the back section of the court. These are not crisp plays right now, Karch. Teams have got to be taking advantage of this. Both of them being very generous right now. Malloy down the line, dug by Dalton. And Malloy threw a seam in the block. She has been pretty quiet throughout the course of this match. Now 6 kills on 26 swings for number 9 in white. Thought there would have been a timeout moments ago, but here it is as Nebraska is right back in the 3rd set.
With the Xfinity TV app, anything with a screen is a TV. Stream 100
cumulative GPA, participating at the finals set for each of the NCAA's 90 championships. Nebraska junior defensive specialist Sydney Townsend is a biochemistry major and carries a 3.84 cumulative GPA. For more information on the Elite 90 award winners, log on to ncaa.com/elite-90. Nebraska right back into this national semifinal. Stanford has advanced. Here is Katie Rolfson. Prieto Sarami back to the line once again off the edge, and what a cover by Nicole Dalton. That ended a 4-1 run for Nebraska.
And Dalton is not the most mobile after all those hip surgeries. Like how low she was able to get and keep her team alive, save her hitter.
Right side, smart shot by Ebony Wannabu, and a wonderful choice by Chloe Collins as Texas once again marches in their strongest rotation.
Yep, all they need, all Ebony Wannabu needs, is to hit the high corner and then the high seam between left back and middle back, and it just confounds opposing defenses.
Oh, look at that. Confusion. That ball was intended for Amber Rolfson. Twin sister Katie was coming into cover. Once again, some sloppy play and a gift offered up by the defending national champions. And with hands on hips, a disgusted head coach John Cook calls timeout.
The NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship is presented by Northwestern Mutual. We help you live life differently.
Official attendance at these national semifinals for the 36th Women's NCAA Volleyball Championship. 16,670, the 6th largest ever crowd at these volleyball finals. Stanford to play the winner at 9 Eastern time on ESPN2. And right now it looks like Texas looking to pull off an upset over the top seeded and defending national champions from Nebraska. There is time for the Cornhuskers. Given all of the comebacks and some of the miracles we saw last week, Karch, I would have to venture that this one is not nearly over.
And one reason why Katie Rolfson has a total of 19 swings, but 10 of them were in the first, 9 in the second. She has yet to swing at a ball, and it's 19-15 in this set, and it's 19-15. I think they've got to get her. Nebraska has to spread the Texas block out and get Katie Rolfson going behind the setter.
Well, and she's playing opposite, so I know not a big threat out of the back row. And the way Nebraska has been passing against 73% in system, that is a stunning number.
Yeah. And they're having a little consult in center court. Kelly Hunter trying to lead the troops. In only her second year as a player, she redshirted, but voted as the sole captain, or named as the sole captain of the team.
Oh, over the top, and Micaiah White must have thought there was a touch, sprawling for the dig. Look at this number, Karch. In system, off of all of those passes, Nebraska's hitting 255. Okay, that's a little bit low for the perfect pass. Out of system, minus 250. Here is Albright. Legally taken overhand. Anything goes on that first contact. And Fecky risking into the cross court, and that ball missed out of bounds. And Texas can taste it right now, up 20-16, especially against a Nebraska team that's struggling.
The 11th hitting error. We have a challenge, it looks like. Maybe. Yes, I guess Coach Cook is challenging.
Ooh, well, that's close. That's worth another look. That ball was immediately called out. One of the areas that you can challenge. Foot fault on the service line. Did your player touch or not touch the net? Was the ball in contact with a player off the block or defensively? Or for 4 or more contacts? Those are the areas that can be challenged. And this is worth a challenge. And look, also, Nebraska's out of timeouts. This is
you get the dual benefit. Maybe you win the point and you get the extra timeout. Ooh,
that's really close.
That's really close.
That is really, really close. A good use of the challenge. And by that look, if any part of the ball is on any part of the line, it is good. And that ball looks like it's in.
Yeah.
This is a huge call in this championship or semifinal match.
This might end up being a better angle.
Yeah, that ball's in.
That's in.
And the officials have some looks that we don't. That's great work by our crew. By my eye, that is conclusive evidence that that ball is in.
I think you're right, Paul, that you absolutely have to challenge that, even if you're going to lose it to get the timeout. But every single point in this third set, as you're trying to scratch and claw your way, Nebraska really just wants to extend this thing.
Exactly.
They got to get, once they get that third set, they can start letting, over the course of the season, they've been a better team than Texas.
Here's the decision.
For the longer term.
Ball is in. That's a great challenge by John Cook, head coach of Nebraska. Instead of 2016, it's 1917. How big an opportunity. But now Annika Albright and Nebraska have got to find a way to take advantage. Challenge for Texas, too, to shake that one off. And Wannabu missed it out of bounds. Nebraska's within one.
That was her first error of the match in 33 swings.
Albright again, and serves the ball out of bounds. 8th service error for Nebraska against 2 aces. And Autumn Rounsaville, the young woman who has taken over the defensive specialist responsibilities, and she was back serving so often during that comeback against BYU.
Yeah, and in this game, she's passing in system at 86%. Been doing a really nice job for Texas.
Ebony Wannabu again. Brilliant choice and location by Chloe Collins. Texas back on top, 21-18.
Boy, that's missed serve. You could feel Texas letting up a little. That Coach Cook would love to have that service error back.
Right side to Amber Rolfson, crossbody, beautiful kill for Nebraska. 21-19, there's time.
And in another rotation or so, Katie Rolfson gets back to the front row. It might be time to give her some swings since she still has none in this
That's
third
remarkable.
set.
That is remarkable. Back to Wannabu. Down the line once again. Good dig by Rolfson. Chloe Collins had to make the first contact. Over the top of the block and down. Wow, Wannabu with an excellent off-speed shot, 22-19. Hunter's in the front court, got to watch out for her attacking. Right side, oh, straight down. What a roof by Micaiah White. Texas is 2 points away from a huge upset. Remember, Nebraska is out of timeouts. Back outside to Fecky, down the line for the kill. And now, as you pointed out, Karch Kirai, Katie Rolfson, the offensive leader for Nebraska, back to the front court. 23-20. Wannabu again. That ball left a little bit inside, and now 4 match points. Wannabu will go back to the line. It has been all Texas in this semifinal. And served out of bounds. And the best server now for Nebraska, Michaela Fecky, will go back under tremendous pressure. 3 more match points for Texas.
Remember, they were down 2 match points against Penn State less than a week ago.
Johnson for the win, and Texas is moving on.
Yeah, baby!
Well, we had an upset in the first match as Stanford, the number 6 seed, took out the number 2 seed Minnesota, and now these two longtime rivals. A shocker, Coach Kirai would guess, particularly since it was 3-0. Texas will move on, and the defending champions, their dream to repeat comes to a close.
So much credit to Ebony Wanabu and the whole team, but she has continued to pick up her game as she's gotten healthier and healthier over the course of the season, carrying them offensively.
Once again, our final score. The 6-seeded Texas Longhorns will move on to the championship once again. Coming up next is SportsCenter. Be sure to join us Saturday at 9 Eastern on ESPN2 for the Volleyball National Championship final between Stanford and Texas. Who would have thought that?